Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of South African Flight Adventures. Unfortunately, I didn't get the takeoff on video since I forgot to hit record while messing around with the new GoPro angle. I'm looking at getting an audio splitter to record the intercom as well, so I'm excited to bring better content to my channel. Today I took my mother and father up with me for the first time, which was exciting, because this is also the heaviest I've flown the plane. On a very hot day like this, density altitude was also a factor, with a density altitude of approximately 7,000 feet, and all that excess weight made for some interesting takeoffs and climb rates. At this point we make our way to the river so that we can do a little bit of scenic flying, as well as less turbulence over the river for my parents' first time flying. All the bends in the river also make for some nice steep turns. We are still at full power to maintain our speed, but as I'm descending to get to a lower altitude and join in on the river, I make sure to keep watch of my speed so that I don't overspeed the aircraft. One thing I did try and make sure of this flight was to use my rudder more often, since the previous flights I always felt like I was not using it enough, so this time I did try and use it more. We do have some towers next to the river at some of the parts, so I just start this turn early and make it a little bit steeper so that I can keep my separation within limits. At this point, my instructor asked me to take us over to our general flying zone, which is just over a lake, just so that we can fly a little bit low over the lake and just have some fun. Here we switch our fuel tanks over, since we usually take off on the left tank after we've refueled, because this is a fuel-injected aircraft and the excess fuel that is not combusted in the engine does get transferred to the left tank, so we usually start off on the left tank when we do our takeoffs. Here we are flying about 4 meters above the water. Here we did a low flyover over the town, and this clip is not even sped up. We were just going pretty fast. We are now gaining altitude to join in on long final for runway 18, but we also do a 360 just to gain some more distance. We are now coming in for a touch and go on runway 18, and the next landing will be full stop. We did get quite a bit of crosswinds today, and with the plane being as heavy as it was, the landings were also a lot different for me, since usually when we land the plane when it's a bit lighter, the ground effect does tend to give us like that floaty feel, so usually the plane will just try to float down the runway, but this time I just wanted to stick down to the ground. I did mess up pretty big as I was on center line on approach, but as soon as I touched down I veered all the way to the right and had to correct it pretty violently. We didn't make our exit, and the next exit over is all the way at the end of the runway, so we decided to backtrack this runway. We quickly stopped on the apron because my parents' car was parked here by the fueling bay, and afterwards me and my instructor just went to hangar the aircraft.
Het is hulle gou aflaai. Ag die silinder iets warm. So jy begin sous gooi, dit evaporate vanaf. Maar anyway. Nog steeds dieselfde. Kry moeste full reach. Fuel pump aan, kom lekker. Wat jy hoor sê. So gooi dit. Gooi dit uit. Ja. Dan af. Nu steer terug. So halfway en soos wat ons al start. Ons moet so hier. Haha, check.
Oh, nice.
Keys out, stripes off, alles af. Toe. Kom ons maak seker die een is fucking af.
Ja.
Yep.
At this point I noticed how much nose-up trim we actually had on this flight.
Hier baie nice het op ons gevlieg.
Ja, dit is lekker gelaai geweest. Alright. Ja, mooi. Jy het baie mooi gevlieg.
Ah ja.
Jenny.
Hierdie linkerkant se hanger deur is bietjie tighter dink ek.
Ja, man.
Wat was daai?
Dis 'n KR. Dis ou wat my ingedoen het met die ding. Ek wil hom nog klaar gemaak het, maar nou kan ek nie die original boupapiere vir kry.
Thank you for making it this far in the video, and I hope to catch you next time.